obviously, there's no rush to get her back on the street. If you have an idea, you guys have an idea. Suggestion box, talk about, in the chat. But we're looking for suggestions. But we're not desperate to have her come back to the right way to do more co-op or anything like that. We like how it went, for how long it did. We got the progress we needed, so the playthrough continues now in terms of reward money. Thank you for your input that we got that far, but not in any rush to rush back into it when it's actually fun, right? So that's what I mean. Let's look into it. Let's see. I'm sure you guys.
Is that guy here with mustache? Why is his mustache so much darker than the goatee? It's very weird to me. It's very weird.
Are gonna know way more about co-op games than I am. So that's that. Okay, so yes, Dodoko Island, we're done with this. We hit 3-star level. That's as far as we're gonna go. I don't even want to go back to it myself. We got out of it what we needed. The co-op is done for now. We will be looking for future opportunities for fun co-op. We just don't know what it is yet. We have to look into it and try to figure it out. And all of your input is greatly appreciated. Okay?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Fair enough? Okay, cool. So,
No, the hair I get. But the mustache stays darker than the...
that's where we ended last night. I got the drip. Go.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ and the cross. Man, that was pitiful.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, if my beard wasn't going gray, I'd still look pretty young.
Shit like that, shit like that, shit like that.
Hey, you're still pretty young, Pim. 50's the new 30. You're good. Wow. Wow. So Don Doko is da-dum, Pim. And that was funny. The fatigue, she was in a bad mood already. The chat, it was the chat's fault. Just a bunch of excuses. At some point, you got to take a little bit of the L here, Phil. You should have stopped it. You shouldn't have had her go. If you noticed all the cues, you should have stopped her when you noticed all the cues. Instead of force her to sit there and play the game. So when people say you forced her, don't ban her. Don't ban her. Look, I noticed that she was already in a mood. I noticed that she was feeling away. I noticed it. You're still gonna play. I noticed that after an hour she didn't want to be here. Oh, here's the controller. Let's sit here. I'll play it. Now sit here. You didn't want to play it, but I'm sure you would want to sit here and watch me play it. Yeah. Smart move.
Bang, bang,
Smart
bang,
move.
bang.
Stinky jumped another 5 of them things, and I appreciate you, Pin. Thank you. Yeah. She clearly didn't want to be there. There's anyone can see it. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Even though I feel she shouldn't have been doing that whole kid act. You should have stopped it a long time ago, Pip. That was pitiful. I would have never done my girl like that. First of all, you ain't gonna get her in front of a camera ever. And if I got her in front of the camera, just know she's either losing her mind or we're about to announce that I'm going to prison or dying tomorrow. Okay? She's never gonna show us. She's not someone that will ever do this or sit in front of it. Like, I would never force her to do that ever. And it would never happen anyway. The most you would ever get was maybe a microphone sat right here and her talking. You may be able to hear her voice one time. Maybe.
Shit like that. If
you think she's gonna be right, no, absolutely not for us. This ain't her. This ain't her realm. If you think she's gonna sit right here and be like, oh, let's react, no. Which I think would be very funny to show her like Phil and all the other people. I think would be pretty funny. It would never happen. It would never happen. It's Halloween all over again. This time she did it, but he couldn't just blame himself. It had to be the chat's fault. Couldn't be anybody. Yeah, you guys were asking bad questions. It's your fault. Oh, okay, it's my fault. Gotcha. Next time we'll stay silent. Don't tell me, oh, why isn't the chat talking? Well, Phil, last time we were doing it, you got mad at us and said we made your wife run away. So,
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Mantuary podcast. All right, it's just a cam. She's not, and talking and the mics and stuff, that's not her. It would be, it would never happen. It would never happen. I thought about it like I told you why it was funny because on the Lowlifes it was our 4th year on Valentine's Day, me and Fresh, and the first episode was supposed to have our girls on it, but she didn't want to do it, so we were like, all right, we already planned out the 14th being it, and that was it. That was the first episode. It was gonna be us talking like a love, like from a person that's been a couple that's been together for over a decade to people that are just together. It was Sly and Fresh's anniversaries on Valentine's Day.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
I told
shit
you
like
why
that,
it was
shit like
supposed
that,
to be.
shit like that.
It was supposed to be a reason. All right, Reaper. It's not no shots. It was supposed to be a reason. Okay. That was the thing, but it just fell apart. But yeah. That's gonna be it for tonight, folks. I had to come here and talk a little. Yeah, I had to talk about this because this was too funny, and I wanted to talk about that LCG. I told you it was gonna be a little shorter one. You feel me? I'll be back tomorrow though. We gonna get. Oh damn, Chris. He shows up and I feel bad. So I gotta choose between Fresh and Mrs. Every free day. That's a fact. She's gotta share. Fresh and me, we got a thing going here, man. We've been together for 4 years. You feel me? Yeah. So appreciate it, Willis. But yeah, for sure, I'll be back tomorrow night. We gonna get it shaking. I'm gonna watch that boss thing, and I'm gonna watch that tipster. And I got a lot to talk about. I saw the tipster thing, but I want to see what Vosh has to say, and we are definitely gonna break that down tomorrow, and probably some more Filipio. So we got some things we're gonna talk about. Straight to the fact. So yeah, we got some things we're gonna talk about tomorrow. Oh my God. No, we'll wait. Your boy made it to somewhere else too. Someone featured your boy. You know what I'm talking about? I forgot I was supposed to show y'all today, but we gonna watch it tomorrow. Your boy made it to another video. That just makes me feel bad, but we gonna watch it tomorrow. Let me break it all down, alright? I love y'all. Stop. Check them out. Yo, Rich, how you do my dog? I appreciate it. Appreciate you all. Y'all the ghosts. Y'all the gods. Y'all the god bodies. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, your boy will be back at it like a crack habit. You already know. Y'all really the ghosts, man. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you everyone that got jumped in. Thank you, Stinky. Thank you, Kaiju. Thank you, Aviga, Nugs. All the people that got jumping bulls in. Y'all the ghosts, man. Thank you very much. Kane for the chats, Nocturnal, Rude, Kaiju, all the bulls. Y'all the ghosts, man. I'll see you tomorrow. I love y'all.
Oh.
Got her in hand. It's another story in this hotel here going on right there. Articulation is weird. Separated, started. You know, no too much around, but her articulation is weird because she's posting it down there, but the top here is where her articulation really is. I think that's not good. So you gotta be careful there. There we go. You got Stephanie again, but she moved really well here. Side to side, and not a whole lot going on here except for the legs. I'm sorry, so shit right now. Yeah, not feeling the best right now. So I want to make sure I get this out because I've been waiting a long time for this to look up to the picture of her face. She looks wonderful. This is not the same hairstyle as the other one. The reason being is for this reason here. So when I move this one over here, first she comes with this staff and this little snake effect here. Okay. Look, her hair is different. That's so the hood can go on. It's not the same hair back. Okay. It has to change so that when she put it on, it look right. Okay. But yes, you get two hands. They both look really good. I mean, you can't really like one of them is the same face, it's just the hairstyle is different. Something about that little piece it looks out like. With several pairs of hands, let me get those hands out. Grass hands. She also has like two outwardly reaching hands. She still has a hand, but she is a summoner. And she has this fine cloak. This cloak is just, it's it, man. It's amazing. Yes, there's wire goods there, so you can kind of keep it flowing or whatnot, however you want. I really like it. And yeah, you have to clear the hood a little bit to get it sitting right. Once you have it sitting right, it's definitely, thou shalt doubt my favorite series so far, just because of how little they get this bigger, and it's just fine. So, yeah, all in all, if I had to rate off the race out of 10, I'm going to give her a perfect 10. This is, it's that good. So, on the fence about this way, worried about all the issues that people are saying, talk about. Yes, I'm sure there are some definite issues. But we just has taken care of them. So I would strongly recommend it. So until next time, peace and well, this should be brief. Welcome to 5POA Evolution, where I chronicle the history of one character in action figure form. February is the month of love, and so today I'm going to spotlight a female character I adore, Wonder Woman.
First, a few parameters. Wonder Woman might be a character who appeals to both boys and girls, but this video is going to focus on action figures. I'm not going to be looking at items that we would traditionally consider to be dolls or other things targeted specifically at girls. I'm also not going to be looking at anything meant for little kids like Imaginext or things like that. Lastly, of course, I don't have every Wonder Woman ever made, but we will cover just enough of the highlights so that you can witness action figure evolution. While there were a few items produced by the Mego Corporation, our journey begins in 1984 with the Superpowers collection by Kenner. She stands 4¼ inches tall and technically has 7 points of articulation, but that neck joint is functionally useless. Notice the slant to her shoulder joints though? That's to accommodate her action feature. She also has T-style hips and single hinge knees. She also came with a lasso similar to this one, which I don't have. After all these years, the colors are still vibrant, and while she might stand short compared to her super friends, this Wonder Woman still stands tall as one of the most influential Wonder Woman figures ever made. In fact, in 1988, it was used as the base model for this Burger King Kids Meal cup holder. Without any points of articulation, it's not an action figure at all, but the influence from Superpowers was so striking I felt it bared bringing out. Obviously, there are some notable differences, most especially in the face. Again, though, it's worth a mention. Partly because of our next Wonder Woman, the 1990 DC Comics Superheroes version by Toy Biz. While most people seem to think that the molds for this were taken from Superpowers, I disagree. Standing a middle line, I think it was actually taken from the cup holder. The size is about the same, facial and especially tiara details are the same, and they have the same overly thick arms. It also came with a lasso, this one to be exact. The Superpowers version, of course, had that bracelet defense pose. This one, however, can chuck a lasso at evildoers. I want to tie yourself up. DC was so horrified by how cheap this line was that they took the license away from Toy Biz and gave it back to Kenner. Looking at this Wonder Woman, and it's easy to see why. It's hard to believe, but we wouldn't see a new action figure of Wonder Woman again until 1999. The figure was an early release from DC Direct. She stands at 6 inches tall, and in addition to the articulation Superpowers has a single jointed hinged elbow and swivel wrists. That wrist articulation would come in handy for her battle axe and a shield. Though crudely painted, the shield is covered in stars with that familiar double W in the axe. Given what a powerhouse DC Direct would become, it's interesting to see one of their inaugural offerings. I will say she's stuck kind of lilting to one side. Despite the joint, the elbow is pre-posed, so you can't actually straighten her arm. Additionally, the gold is really more of a dark brown, though when you look at the picture on the back, you get an idea of what could have been. The card art, by the way, was Wonder Woman specific, features some nice Themyscira architecture. It's interesting because Hasbro had a 6-inch DC Superheroes line at the time with no Wonder Woman, and you could kind of fudge her in. She's a bit outdated, but still an important step in Wonder Woman's action figure journey. That journey would continue in 2000 with this JLA Wonder Woman by Hasbro. It's a direct market figure, which means it was only sold at comic book and specialty shops, and was meant to serve as a companion piece to the Total Justice series. These were highly detailed figures stuck in extreme poses, and while Wonder Woman does have that over-detailed quality, I just never really felt like she belonged. Maybe if everybody was standing up straight it would be different, but here she just seems too big. In 2001, a whole new generation was introduced to Wonder Woman thanks to the Justice League animated series. This then blossomed into Justice League Unlimited. Mattel gave us several animated versions of Wonder Woman. This one's the later edition, which featured extra articulation. As is often the case, that includes a neck joint that doesn't really do anything, swivel hinge arms, a swivel waist, and V-style hips. This Diana stands at 4½ inches, making her ever so taller than the original Superpowers. Translating a two-dimensional cartoon into a three-dimensional action figure has its challenges, but I think Mattel did a really good job here. You can practically hear the voice of Susan Eisenberg just looking at it, although this particular one seems to be looking in two different directions. All the better to keep an eye on crime. Swinging back over to DC Direct, and while they had released a few figures of Wonder Woman based on things like the Super Friends cartoon, or her golden age appearance. For our purposes, the next major one I want to look at is this 2003 figure from their JLA series. Even after just a few short years, we can see a massive leap forward in quality from their first release. Looking at this face, and it really feels like Jose Luis Garcia Lopez artwork come to life. It also really puts me in mind of Alex Ross Wonder Woman artwork. The proportions are a lot more natural this time around, and while the gold is still a bit on the dark side, it is at least recognizably gold. Additionally, this figure benefits from having ball-jointed shoulders. The stars are nice and crisp, and there's some nice natural wrinkles in the boots. Overall, this is a very strong offering, and is still one of my favorite Wonder Woman head sculpts. And then we have this one. This DC Direct Wonder Woman comes from Justice League New Frontier, based on the artwork of the late Cook had a wonderful retro style that was great on paper, but I don't know if it was really well translated here. It looks like Wonder Woman has conjunctivitis. Still, I love the larger, more powerful proportions on this figure, and it's one of the first times we saw Wonder Woman depicted as having a more battle-style skirt, just with the dinged-up armored shin guards. That sheath on the side lets you know she came with a sword, but unfortunately I don't have it. I did, however, have the lasso too, and the alternate armor thing. Unfortunately, she must have some concept alopecia because a huge chunk of her hair came out while trying to swap the heads. Keep her name! Jokes about the face aside, this is a great figure that would portend the more modern Wonder Woman we've come to know and love, and as an action figure, has a lot more playability than we would later come to expect. In a lot of ways, this figure was of its time. In other ways, it was ahead of its time. Truly a new frontier, indeed. The following year, in 2007, DC Direct would give us one of the most beloved and highly sought-after Wonder Woman figures of all time. Affectionately called the Terry Dodson Wonder Woman, this is based on the newest Wonder Woman comic. The proportions and the pose really feel like Dodson's artwork. Great face sculpt, and the color is really poppy. I especially appreciate the bit of red coming out underneath the logo. These figures go upwards of $100 on the aftermarket, and it's not hard to see why. One of the best representations of one of the best heroes. What our next figure lacks in the Terry Dodson's form, but more than makes up for in function. This is the 2008 DC Universe Classics Wave 4 Wonder Woman by Mattel. The figure is well articulated with a head that actually turns, swivel hinge shoulders, bicep swivel, an M front that allows her to arch back this far and hunch forward a little, swivel hinge hips that can kick outward, thigh cut, and hinged ankles. And that's in addition to the standard single elbow, wrist swivel, and single jointed knee bend. Technically there's a cut here, but I've never been able to get it to swivel. Not only that, but similar to the 1999 DC Direct release, this one comes with a battle axe and a shield. Unlike that more patriotic DC Direct one, this one is a simple gold with stars, but once again, the axe blade is the Wonder Woman logo. It is the lasso, but it's sculpted on and non-removable. Even so, in terms of playability, this figure is a lot of fun and still really pulls up. Some of the joint cuts do distract from the aesthetics, and while the face looks very nice straight on, DC Universe Classics had a reputation of being a bit flat. That said, if you want a 6-inch scale classic Wonder Woman figure that's a lot of fun and really articulated, this is going to be your best option. If, however, you want a 6-inch scale Wonder Woman that tries aesthetics over functionality, then this is going to be your option. Here we have the 2009 DC Direct Justice League of America box set version. A single-carded version had been released earlier in the year with different colors and also a different face sculpt. Most collectors agree that this is the superior version. In fact, there are a lot of collectors out there that swear by this as the superior Wonder Woman ever made. They did a whole video debating the best DC Direct Wonder Woman. I'm not going to go that far into it here. Suffice it to say, I do really like the proportions on this one, and I especially like the colors. They have that lighter superpower feel. The gold has a metallic sheen, and isn't just a straight old yellow. It also scales nicely with up to 6-inch DC figures. The 2011 DC Direct release classic single never did get a hold of. For the next couple of years, DC Collectibles would boom. This includes an Earth 2 style Wonder Woman in 2014, and then another one based on the artwork of Jai Lee in 2015. Also in 2015, a whole new generation was introduced to Wonder Woman thanks to DC Superhero Girls. The series asked the question, what if My Little Pony, but DC? This Wonder Woman is just under 6 inches, and honestly is pretty unrecognizable as Wonder Woman. That said, as a property target for little girls, it's pretty cute. She's got the big Disney-like doe eyes, shoulder pads that would make the 80s blush, stars running down the sides of her pants in lieu of shorts or a battle skirt, and wings on the sides of her boots that put me more in mind of Artemis. The articulation's fairly basic with a ball-jointed head, swivel-hinge shoulders, single-jointed swivel elbows, wrist swivel, swivel-hinge hips, single-jointed swivel knee, and boot cut. She does have a lasso. It plugs into her belt like so. In terms of reintroducing Wonder Woman to pop culture, however, this series was just the beginning. In 2016, Wonder Woman made her big screen debut played by Gal Gadot in Batman v Superman. A new Wonder Woman could only mean one thing: new toys. First and foremost, there was a basic line targeted for kids. These had simple sculpts and articulation. Just like the DC Superhero Girls version, she stands at just under 6 inches, and as basic caricatures for kids series go, doesn't look half bad. I mean, I can see it. The film design took advantage of the armored rebirth look that was taking the comics by storm. The gold was back, but here it looks more like brown mustard. We also get a battle skirt and some armored boots. As usual, not much movement in the neck, but she does have swivel shoulders, single-jointed swivel elbows, T-style swivel hips that just kick outward, and single-jointed hinge knee. Kinda hard to believe that the DC Superhero Girl version is more posable than the big screen adaptation. Additionally, her lasso is permanently affixed, but she does have a shield. I'm gonna be real with you, I have no idea what that symbol is, and she also has a sword. You can slide through the belt if you want. Seriously, no one's gonna stop you. Fortunately, Mattel also made a higher-end one as part of their DC Comics multiverse line. This one's not from Batman v Superman, though. It's from the Wonder Woman standalone film. Body and accessories are the same as the BVS version, but this one has the better head sculpt. I do like the extra color in the cheeks. I also like the metallic paint for the armor and skirt. Nice texture in there, too. The hands and bracers have more paint detail this time, too. And articulation-wise, you can actually turn her head a bit. She's got swivel hinge shoulders that raise up pretty high, bicep swivel, the usual single-jointed swivel elbow, wrist swivel, wings cut, swivel hinge legs that don't get much spread, but it's better than nothing, thigh cut, single-jointed knee, and ankle hinge. That belt loop lets you know that she has a sword, but unfortunately I've misplaced it. I do, however, have her shield, which is very impressive. Of all the lines, and that gold really stands out. It's also surprisingly big. Not only that, but see how her lasso's dangling? That's because you can actually unfasten this one. If only someone at Hasbro could have looked at this Wonder Woman when engineering Indiana Jones's whip strap. While Mattel had the mass market releases, there were plenty of other companies making Gal Gadot Wonder Woman figures. There were higher-end offerings like Mezco 112 Collective, as well as international options from brands such as Mayfax or SH Figuarts. Mezco in particular would go on to make a couple of different comic versions. Even DC Collectibles was going to make one, but sadly it was canceled, which is a shame because it looked really good. You might say this is one Gadot I'm still waiting for. The renewed popularity of Wonder Woman led to lots of new figures over at DC Collectibles, including a new version based on the artwork of Darwin Cook, one based on the art stylings of Greg Capullo, and a retro styles bombshell version based on the artwork of Aunt Lucia. And this Wonder Woman based on her appearance in the Amazovirus. This design bridges the gap between the new 52 and the current version of Rebirth. It has that red, blue, and silver color scheme from New 52, but the armored look that would become the standard. A 1/12 scaled series, this Wonder Woman stands at just 6 inches. This line was hyper-articulated and came chock full of accessories. In addition to all the points of articulation we've seen before, this Wonder Woman has double-jointed elbows and wrists that not only swivel but also hinge up and down. Moving to the middle, and she has a diaphragm joint and a reverse approach. Using them all together, and she can arch back this far and hunch forward this far. The diaphragm joint also gives her a bit of tilt and twist. Underneath the battle skirt, we can see she has ball-jointed hips. The kick is just incredible, and she can do a perfect split. No thigh cut, but the ball joint does allow her to have some twist in the hip. And then moving down, she has double-jointed knees, boot cut, and ankles that can hinge. And for the first time in a Wonder Woman figure, I prefer the gold and the rebirth design we would eventually get, but this this is a really nice stepping stone. The logo feels particularly vintage, and the shin guards remind me of the Darwin Cook figure we looked at. That said, I can't help but feel that the additional straps are kind of extraneous, and I don't really love the face. I actually much prefer the prototype that they have on the back of the box. Diana comes preloaded with fists, but also includes alternate accessory holding hands. One of those accessories is this really nice sword. The hilt is pretty cool with these nice eagly wings. She can hold it in either hand, but the grip is pretty loose. You could also store it in her belt loop. Speaking of hoop, she has another hook on the side of her belt. That's for storing this lasso. It hangs there like so. But that's not all. She also comes with this one. As you can see, it's really nice and light. Similar to the sword pose, it doesn't exactly grip it. On the subject of that hand, though, remember this big bulky strap? That's for a shield. Flipping it around, we see an indent representing the symbol that does look very realistic. With all of her accessories and use, this Wonder Woman's a very nice. Flipping it around, you'll notice another one of those plugs. That's so that she can store the shield. They even put a ridge in her hair to accommodate it. This, however, was one of two Icons versions of Wonder Woman DC Collectibles would release that year. They also released this one as part of a Rebirth style box set. The Rebirth design would be the gold standard for the character moving forward, by which I mean the gold was back. We still had the armored look, but the battle scope was a bit more refined. While new, still felt classic, and although they had a bit more detail, the bracers were more traditional. More so than the Amazovirus, this really felt like a modern update of the classic costume. Unlike the Amazovirus version, however, this was exclusive to a box set and didn't have any accessories whatsoever. Notice any other major differences? One of the biggest criticisms of DC Icons was that the figures were too small. With the box set, they began to correct course on that, the issue being that the newer figures were no longer compatible with the earlier releases. As great as the DC Icons line was, it was great. I do think that was one of the things that did contribute to the downfall. Icons was scrapped, and in 2018, we got DC Essentials. I assume it was called Essentials because they essentially came with nothing. These figures were just under 7 inches tall, and the male characters all share the same basic height. In 2019, we got a DC Essentials Wonder Woman, and she was a completely unique star. This one contains the Rebirth design, and I will say I do like this one more than the previous one. Articulation-wise, she lost the reverse half punch, but she gained height. Instead of boots, this one has ankle balls that can do a whole lot, but she can also hinge. The downside is the DC Essential ankle balls are notoriously loose and they're really tiny. That's why getting her to stand can be tricky. DC Essentials wasn't the only Rebirth style Wonder Woman released in 2019. The Mattel released one as part of their DC Comics Multiverse series. To compete with Marvel Legends, the brand got a bit of an overhaul, with a big swivel hinge head with only now replaced with all female characters now have diaphragm movements. The ankles can now pivot. The upgrading quality from just a couple of years prior was obvious. This figure was part of the Super Luther collector victory, and in addition to a hand lasso, dust panel texture lasso, sword, and one alternate fist. It really does go to show how far the college come. If I'm being brutally honest though, I never really loved this figure. The face never really screamed Wonder Woman to me, and while the details of the costume were nice, overall it just kind of felt more like a cosplayer dressed as Wonder Woman than herself. The timing of each one of these figures coming out in 2019 is noteworthy, however, because each would represent the final Wonder Woman by their respective company. After making DC toys since 2003, in 2019, Mattel's license expired. Additionally, due to the global chaos in 2020, DC Collectibles was shut down. The license for mass-market DC action figures would now go to new companies. Moving forward, the geek-friendly offerings would be made by Spin Master. These figures are a 4-inch scale and pretty simple sculpted paint jobs. In addition, the neck joint that doesn't work, Wonder Woman has swivel hip shoulders, single-jointed swivel elbow, ball-joint hips, flat cut, and single-jointed swivel knee. There's an impressive amount of posability to such a tiny figure. More than anything else, this line focuses on playability. Each figure comes with history and accessories. Overall, this line's a lot of fun and a great way of introducing kids to DC heroes. On the collector side of things is DC Multiverse by McFarlane Toys. 4 years later, it's easy to forget that this line was instrumental to McFarlane Toys' comeback. This figure is based on Wonder Woman 1984. They also made another one based off of her golden armor. The likeness wasn't exactly perfect, but better than Mattel. A 1/10 scale line, this figure stands over 7 wonderfully sculpted metallic armor with a great attention to detail, phenomenal texturing in the battle skirt, and a whole new standard of articulation, release. These include dumbbell pegs that not only allow you to down but also tilt as well as side to side, swivel and shoulders, rotator cuffs allowing for additional up, down, and side to side, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and wrist balls that can swivel and hinge in any direction. These figures also have diaphragm joints and dumbbell waists. The arch back is fantastic, albeit a bit gappy, but as with most diaphragm joint figures, the hunch forward isn't really anything special. What is special is the added tilt and, of course, twist. Below the battle skirt, McFarlane uses a ratchet system. Its particular diameter can take 90 degrees and get a really great split. Similar to DC Icons, there's also a twist. There is also double jointed knee, articulation, and similar to DC Essentials, they have ankle balls that can swivel, hinge, and like Wonder Woman into a whole new era of action figures. And this figure was a solid start, so that's it. That diaphragm joint, for example, is very functional, but kind of looks like she was sawed. Or to mention accuracy. The biggest complaint that most collectors had about this figure was the grease up by height. Really DC Multiverse figures had this issue because of it she was at a scale of right over here. In terms of accessories, DC Multiverse figures come with very large figures. Good movie to see what I mean about that likeness. Zooming up though, it's really cool what a good job they did on the back. Otherwise, this Wonder Woman comes with a wound up lasso that we actually do have in Angelight. So it also has this fun action scene. The next time we see a DC Multiverse Wonder Woman would be this one based on her appearance from the last night on Earth. This kind of figure would really prove to be one of McFarlane's strong suits. Alternate figures characters that we otherwise would probably never have gotten an action figure for. This one's noteworthy for her mohawk and braid, tattered cloak, and more extreme armor. I'm pretty sure she could deflect missiles with this placer. McFarlane not giving us a standard comic this with a lot of fans go to, and really a customizer dream. Being part of a build-away is a little part from the last time Earth style. But honestly, that wasn't really interesting, so I sold those pieces off. For other collectors who weren't interested in Bane, they also released a single carded version with Dr. Fate's helmet. Although it would be a long time before we got a regular comic version, we didn't have to wait long till our next DC Multiverse Wonder Woman. This was also released in 2021 and is based off of her appearance from Dark Knight's Death Metal. In lieu of her typical tiara, she has a spiky crown and some gothic makeup, long blue hair, monstrous skulls for shoulder pads, and studded armor with boots that would make Kiss blush. And instead of a lasso or a sword, she comes with a chainsaw made out of her lasso, and overall is a pretty rockin' addition to the collection. A more divisive edition would come later in the same year with this one designed by Todd McFarlane himself. My review at the time was pretty scathing. I focused on the overly blue-centered color scheme, the sloppy paint job, sections of the figure that were left untextured and unpainted, and design choices that just plain baffled me. It wasn't all bad, though. I did give this figure its roses. I complimented the lovely face sculpt, the intricate sculpting of certain design elements, most especially the boots, and just how well articulated the figure was, despite having only two shoulders for all. Also praised the accessories, such as the neatly detailed shield and sword. Even so, looking back at that video, I feel like I was being needlessly harsh and critical, more to be funny than to be helpful. If I could do things over again, I wouldn't have approached the video quite the way that I did. The figure has its fans, I'm just not one of them, but the fans have grown to appreciate it more. If nothing else, it's always a hit during head swaps. 2022 brought us the Frost King Build-A-Wave, and with it, the Winter Wonder Woman. This design was taken from the comics and features a more bundled up Diana, wonderful fur sculpting, and her animal pelt cape. I'd love to see it with more metallic paint. Still, there is some fine detailing and a pretty nice face sculpt. In fact, McFarlane liked it so much that they literally reissued the different box that she's holding in the promo image that the figure doesn't need. Next up for 2022 is Superwoman, the Target exclusive Time Syndicate Starro Wave. Strictly speaking, this is not Wonder Woman, but I still feel like she's worth a mention. For one thing, while Superwoman is usually Lois Lane, this one is actually Diana's based on the toy. She even has a bracer. Most importantly, she has common features that we'll be looking at later in a different Diana, so consider this as sitting the stage. Also Also in 2022 was a Walmart exclusive repaint of the one designed by Todd McFarlane. As much as I didn't like the original, I thought this was a huge improvement. Most especially the balance between red and blue. Obviously, there were issues with certain areas not being painted well, but some changes did cover a few sins. Instead of gold, this time we had more of a brass. Those color changes also made it to the weapons. It was also given a new lasso, but unfortunately mine broke. In the absence of a proper Wonder Woman, this was a fair substitute, but that lack of proper Wonder Woman was really starting to feel unfair. Especially when the only other DC Multiverse Wonder Woman was another Walmart exclusive, an all-gold version of Dark Knight's Death Metal. This one is called Anti-Crisis Wonder Woman, and no, it's not just an action figure painted to look like an Oscar. She really did sport this look in the comic. Additionally, changes were made to the headpiece to get rid of the crown and give her a fuller head of hair. All of that was pretty cold comfort, though, given that these are the only DC Multiverse Wonder Woman figures of 2022. Two of them were repaints, and one of them wasn't Wonder Woman at all. The yawning void in our collection where a comic book Wonder Woman should go was growing louder and louder. Fortunately, DC Multiverse wasn't McFarlane Toys' only DC line. We'd also resurrected the 1980s Superpowers collection.